evening and welcome to episode 168 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining me tonight as we are going to be discussing the late pick 5 this Saturday at Del Mar. Two fantastic grade 2 races with one of the best handicappers in the entire country. You might not know him by name, but if you're involved in the contest world, you definitely know this gentleman, because he has been outstanding and absolutely rocking it in the contest world. And he has a great backstory, too. His name is Dylan Donnelly. We'll be bringing him on here in just a few minutes. Please make sure you subscribe on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. After you do that, hit that notification bell. That'll tell YouTube, the notification bell will tell you when new shows will arrive. The thumbs up button, the like button, that'll tell you that this is a great podcast to watch. So hopefully you're going to smash both of those things. Of course, you can reach me on Twitter at HKravitz on the name tag there. In the bottom of the screen right now, you can see it right there. Boom. HKravitzHorse at gmail.com is my email for any questions, comments, or concerns. We don't have a lot of comments below the video player, but go below the video player and feel free to comment there as well after the show about anything you like, dislike as well. And we already have some people in the live chat. So please make sure in the live chat on the top right-hand side of the screen, if you are on YouTube watching this, we'd love to hear your comments, opinions on the races at Del Mar for Dylan Donnelly, or really anything relating to horse racing. Of course, you can also hear us on audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. We got the Race Day blog going. It's still early in the month. It's a great idea to go ahead and subscribe. Only $15.99 for the month. We've had some great winners on there. I had an ABC ticket that I gave out last week that hit for $4,000. And that ABC ticket was under $300 ticket. So we've had some great scores vertically and horizontally on the Race Day blog. You can buy it through Patreon. You can see the website there, or also go down below the video player and click Show More. And in the description, you can find out about the Race Day blog. Let's go ahead and see what we've got here. Listening, we got our typical viewers on right now. We got Charles B. Hello, Charles. We got Penn State Scott. Big fan of Del Mar. We're going to hit that. Let's see. We also have, we've got Christine is here. Wow, Christine with a personal shout out to Paul. Very nice, Christine. Thanks for joining the show. Before I bring on our special guest, let's go ahead and bring on my great co-host, who've had a little bit of time off, but they're, I'm sure, cranked and ready to go for tonight's show. From Maryland, Pete Visco, and from the Saratoga Special, Mr. Paul Halloran. Gentlemen, how we?
Depends on how you define time off, Howard. I'll have you know I wrote 10 stories and 8,000 words while I was in Saratoga.
That's it? About what, Paul,
you
might want to bring your camera down a little bit, or just, there you go, because your name, we want to see that beautiful mug of yours. We don't want your name tag to be in that way. By the way, Pete and Paul, you guys need to be a little bit concerned. I had two guests on, as you know, Tuesday, Charlie Freeman and Patrick Kunzel, young men who are in college right now. They brought it. I'm sure you checked out the show. They were excellent. It was fun to have some fresh young blood on the show. Nothing wrong with you guys, of course, but it's nice to mix it up once in a while.
Well, I could tell you, sorry, Paul. I was going to say, I like Charlie because he seemed to like the closers. I heard him say that a few times. So I was like, that's a kid after my own heart right there. He's in for a long life of regret by following the closers most of the time. But hopefully he has better luck than I do.
Paul, it was refreshing. And of course, Patrick was from New Jersey. And it's nice to know that there are handicappers in their late teens, early 20s. I mean, that is going to be the future of the game when we're all dead and gone.
Well, you know, Howard, I'll relate it to my other side job here. As you know, I spent the last Wednesday through Sunday in Saratoga, and the Saratoga Special has two kids. I call them kids. They're both college kids as interns this summer, who are doing a fantastic job. Spencer Ripchick and Timothy Latow. And same idea, you know, they're out there every morning chasing down stories. They're covering, they're being worked to death, basically, which is what you want them to experience. What you want them to experience. But same idea,
free,
you know,
right?
I spent.
You said interns, right? So for free, right?
I don't know what the deal is, but
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
they could never be paying them enough. But by the same token, when you're an intern and you go to a newspaper or magazine or whatever, you're usually fighting to get a byline. These kids are getting multiple bylines every day, writing, probably 1,000, 1,500 words a day themselves. So it's a great opportunity. And they were just great, as you were talking about the guys you went on the handicapping side, very enthusiastic. They're just, even the races that they weren't covering, they were showing up. Can I help you get quotes? Can I? So
Nice.
it was similarly refreshing to your experience with the handicappers.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have them on again. Maybe we can do like a blowout show with all those guys, and maybe Jim just bring out a whole big show on a big day and just do like a real big round robin. But thanks again to Patrick and Charlie for coming on Tuesday. They had a bunch of winners as well, so that was great. All right, let's bring on our special guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I introduced him a little bit at the beginning of the show. Dylan Donnelly is one of the best handicappers in the country. He's had a lot of live money success. He's a big contest guy, which is how I sort of got to know him personally a little bit as I met him for the first time this summer at a handicapping contest. He lives, I believe, out in California. Let's go ahead and bring him on right now. We really appreciate him coming on the show. It is the one and only Dylan Donnelly. Dylan, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's going on? Doing well. How are you guys?
Thanks.
Hey, Dylan.
Good. What's up, Dylan?
Listen, we really appreciate being on the show. I know it's a little bit earlier out there in the day for you, but I appreciate you taking time to be on the HHH Racing Podcast. Dylan, we have a very popular segment that we call 10 Minutes to Post, which is 10 rapid-fire fun questions. But before we get into that, this podcast has grown tremendously in its year and a half in existence, and we have a nice combination, Dylan, of experienced players and people like myself and the two gentlemen, my co-hosts, who also are involved in contests. But we also, Dylan, have some younger viewers on. We're really trying to grow the game, with the 20s and 30s somethings. So for people that are not familiar with you and or contest play, just briefly talk a little bit about yourself and how you got into horse racing in the first place.
So I'm 31 years old, on the younger side of things for horse racing aspects. Grew up in Southern California. My grandfather took me to the racetrack when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I pretty much have been going there my whole life. Hope it never closes down. I just started to dabble into the horse ownership side of it, and been playing contests for a while. Love it all.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get to that now. I'm going to ask you the 10 questions here in just a second, but the last question I want to ask you in general is what sort of got you into horse racing? Was it an unfortunate event? I'm not going to ask you to go into details. You can talk as much as you want about it, but everyone finds horse racing in a different way. Your path was quite interesting.
No, I mean, I didn't find it. I mean, my grandfather started taking me to the track when I was 5 or really young. Yeah. So he took me there, and I would go there every weekend. I've always been into it, but now that I've had a little bit more time on my hands, I've started to dive a little bit deeper into it, and like it's into the horse ownership side, and really start to tackle the tournaments all around the country and go chase those.
Yeah, well, you've had an unbelievable amount of success. I could rattle down all the list of contests that Dylan won and where he's done, what he's done in the NHC. But we'd be here forever, Dylan. So people go ahead. No. If people go ahead, I know you're a humble guy. By the way, it was a real pleasure to meet you in person at the Hawthorne contest. That room was quite packed there with the Mustari guys and Justin Dew, and just that was quite the little. What a 20 by 30 room that we were in or whatever. It was still the best contest players in the country that I was, and of course my friend Matt Miller, who won the BCBC. And so it was a good chance to meet you. And you got quite the layout there for when you're in contests. You had, I think 2 computers. You got everything going on. So
yeah. I had my laptop, my iPad, and a bunch of good fun people in there. That was a really good time.
Played more than one contest that day, if I recall. You were right. Am I right about that?
Yes. Yeah. There was probably like 3 or 4, to be honest.
I hear you. All right. Well, Dylan, let's go ahead because we want to get to the handicapping. Let's go ahead and get into the fun segment that we create here on the show. Like I said, it is called 10 Minutes to Post. 10 Minutes to Post. Dylan, these are going to be 10 rapid fire questions. Who answer them like 30 seconds or less, and we'll rotate between our co-hosts, there, Pete and Paul. And then we'll go ahead and get into handicapping. The questions are going to be on the bottom of the screen, Dylan. So we'll read them off because, of course, we have an audio version that we put out later. But you'll see questions at the bottom of the screen. You're also going to see comments from people as well. Here's like Charles B. chilling with Dylan. Great handicapper. Charles, thanks for the comment there. All right, here we go. First question, Dylan. I always asked you this, but maybe the first moment in particular you fell in love with horses or horse racing. Was there one?
Not sure when the typical moment. I'm not sure. I remember being a really, really young kid. I got to go to the winter circle when I was like 5 years old, and that was Kent de Sormo rode the winter that day. I was like 4 or 5 years old in the winter circle, and that was probably like, oh my goodness, this is really, really amazing. So that's probably that's like the earliest memory of sort.
Cool. Pete, you got the next one?
All right. Best, most memorable horse racing event ever attended.
Ooh, that's a good one.
We got a lot of good ones, Dylan. This is like the 60 minutes of horse racing. This is serious
cool.
here.
Yeah, I went to the Breeders' Cup last year at Del Mar. That was my first one. That was super cool. But to be honest, I think watching Zenyatta at Hollywood Park in one of her races, I don't remember the roar of the crowd. I'll never ever forget that. I think it was when she beat St. Trinian's.
That was an awesome race.
Yeah, so and I bet St. Trinian's that day, which is pretty yeah.
Dylan, I'd sorry to interrupt you. That was the Vanity Stakes, first of all, at Hollywood.
Okay, yeah.
The reason why I know that is because I also bet St. Trinian's. And I had Vic Stauffer on the show last year. We specifically talked about that race and his call. I'm actually getting chills right now. Both of us still have no idea how Zenyatta got up because St. Trinian's was a really nice horse. I had that weird way of going, too, with like her leg action.
Swimming,
yeah. And boy, she looked like she was definitely getting the best of the queen. But the queen somehow ran her down. I have no idea how. Now, and by the way, last year's Del Mar was my first Breeders' Cup also. So it was a cool weekend. Paul, you got the next one.
Dylan, the 2 keys to winning live money contests.
I got my pen ready. I'm ready to write it down.
Yeah, me too.
You can't be scared to go all in the first race, and you have to not give a shit. Like, just in general, you have to be somewhat kind of reckless, willing to risk it if you want to actually win it. Some people have a hard time, putting $12,000 to win on a horse, and it's like, well, you're probably not going to win, or you're not going to. You might come in the top 10 or top 5, but if you're going to win, you're going to need to risk everything at one point. So,
yeah, that's definitely one thing I've learned from Matt Miller and everyone. You got to be in it to win it. If you don't want to, if you want to win it, you're gonna have to be willing to spend the money in some of these contests. Just the way it is. I don't know about you, Dylan. I would never ask you about your bankroll, but I mean, I'm a full-time high school teacher. I do just fine. But at the BCBC, which was my first one, I was betting amounts that was just. I'm pressing number, I'm putting numbers, into the machine. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, it's sort of crazy when you do it for the first time, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, you're just like, wait, how many zeros did I just hit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to think of it like Monopoly. It's got to be like Monopoly money for a little bit, or else you're never going to be able to do it. At least the first couple times, probably.
I mean, if you want to win it, yeah.
Dylan, is there one particular handicapping accomplishment you're most proud of?
I think coming in third in the BCBC, that was pretty sweet. I think I was like pretty proud. That was my first BCBC I ever played in, and I hit. Towards the end, I went on a roll there, and I didn't think I'd come in third place. Coming in second in the NHC Tour was cool. It sucked. I should have won it, but that's another story. But
that you should have won it.
Yeah. So. I think third place in the BCBC. That was pretty sweet.
What year was that, Dylan? Or where was it?
That was at Keeneland in 2020, the pandemic year.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, terrific. All right, Pete. Next question.
Biggest mistake handicappers make when betting, or mistakes if you have a couple of them.
Being scared of losing to horses who you kind of like. I'd say, like, if you don't really like it. Don't use it. You're going to be wrong a lot. So, if
Wait,
don't
can
really
you
like
repeat
it.
that, Dylan? Because once in a while I take some crap on Twitter and other places that I'm wrong too often. Can you, for the best, one of the best handicappers in the entire country, can you repeat that last phrase you just said?
Well, so like,
You're
just
going to be
not.
what? You're going to be wrong a lot? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, you're going to be wrong a hell of a
Okay.
lot. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
if you're going to be right, you might as well be right with your strong opinions. And if they all line up, and it doesn't happen a lot, that should make up for the amounts that you've lost in that time. And there's somebody, it's like, I like this horse. I'm going to use him defensively or something like that. I don't know. I don't really using horses defensively, since you're going to be wrong so much. And why use horses who you don't really like, because you're going to be wrong a lot. And yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's excellent advice for sure.
Yeah.
Paul?
Now that you're into ownership, Dylan, your realistic goals as a horse owner.
My realistic is to have a lot of fun bringing people to the track, and my goal is to break even.
There's a lot of losing in ownership too, isn't there? As I've started to realize, I've a piece of 4 horses through a Delphi Racing Club out in New York, and I'm starting to get that sense a little bit. But for me, it's much more about the experience. If it's about the money, you're in the wrong business, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not expecting to make a bunch of money, but the amount of experiences that I can bring people to the track and bring them to the backside, pet my horse, feed it carrots. I bring like 30 people to the track with me when my horse runs, and just that rush throughout the whole day. That's, you can't pay for that. It's great.
This is not one of the 10 minutes of post questions, but tell everyone what happened April 1st of this year in race 5 at Santa Anita.
April 1st. Yeah. That was.
I looked it up.
Yeah, April Fool's. No, first horse that I ever claimed. Broke his maiden for me and for him at Santa Anita, and it was an amazing ride. So many tears being shed. I probably would have cried the exact amount, the same, if I would have won the Derby. That was my Derby. It was a maiden claimer for 50,000, and but I won it at Santa Anita. Like, I can't believe it. I should be at Belterra. I mean, no offense, Belterra, but like, my horse won at Santa Anita. It was amazing, and hopefully he gets to win at Del Mar this weekend. So
I was gonna say, he didn't get claimed out from under you, did he?
No. It was off a year layoff, and
okay.
after running 6th, so we weren't really worried about that. So
the name of the horse for everyone?
Can't Beat the Rock.
And he's running this weekend at Del Mar, you said?
Yeah, he's running Sunday in the last race.
There you go. What's the condition?
Starter allowance, non-winners of 2. Perfect. So
good luck,
yeah,
man.
he's thank you.
I don't know if there's a video on YouTube. I didn't have a chance. I'm a school teacher, like I said, Dylan. I just started working this week, so I've been a little bit more busier than normal. So I was gonna try to find that video, but I didn't want to have you get emotional. Okay,
no, it's all good.
I want to keep it real. But is there a video out there if people want to check that?
I think there is.
Celebration after and everything, or no?
Yeah, I don't know who posted it. I don't have social media or Twitter, so I don't.
Yeah.
Someone posted it. Maybe Justin Dew or my mom or somebody. I don't know.
Well, you guys should check it out because it was a really cool moment for everyone. Next question is mine, I think. Do you have a bucket list track or a race day event you'd like to attend, whether it be here in the States or overseas, Dylan?
I kind of just did a bucket list thing about 3 weeks ago. I went to the Curragh out in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
Nice. So that was super cool. It kind of sucks, though, because you don't know who's winning the race until like 40 yards before the finish. They're all wearing the same saddle cloths, and you're like, yeah, it's an Aidan O'Brien. But I think I want to go to the Melbourne Cup. That'd be really, really cool. That would probably be a bucket list event, racetrack thing that I would love to go see.
A lot of people.
Everyone says that. That's everyone's answer. It's we got.
I just
got to organize the trip.
I just don't want to get eaten by like a 8-foot-long snake when I'm in Australia.
there are some animals.
Just stay at the track. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just don't wander off the road too far. Stick to the track.
And we got 3 more quick questions, though, and then we'll get into our handicap again. We're with Dylan Donnelly from California, one of the best handicappers in the country, real big in the contest world. This question, I believe, this is me for Pete.
All right, this is a good one. You have to win one race for $1 million as a racehorse owner, which you are now. Which jockey in history or current do you want taking them out?
Let's see. That's a good one.
You are going to say a California guy, right? You don't want to get the haters out on the West Coast on you.
No, I think I would probably, if he was sober, Kent DeSormo.
Wow.
Nice.
Ouch.
Nice.
No, that's a fair comment. He was as good as
Yeah.
anyone sober.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I don't know. I think he's one of the best. I mean,
Yeah.
he's one of the best.
You could take it a step further, Dylan. Go back further and say the same thing about the late great Garrett Gomez.
Right.
Garrett Gomez
For sure.
was probably as good as anyone. I just
Yep.
actually had a chance to talk to Gary Stevens about him in Saratoga because I was covering the Hall of Fame with Beholder going in, and Garrett unfortunately got taken off Beholder because Richard Mandela didn't know if he could depend on him. But Garrett Gomez was probably had as much talent as anyone who's ever gotten a saddle.
Yep. Yeah, he was one of my favorites too.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He was my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan is. I live about 20 minutes north of Arlington. God rest its soul. And Kent rode there for a summer when he was trying to come back, and you could see. And listen, I mean, he had his ups and downs even in that meet because you could tell sometimes he wasn't focused. Blah blah blah. Anyway, you could tell when his mind was on racing. I mean, he was absolutely outstanding, dirt and turf too.
Yeah. He's just beautiful on a horse.
Yeah. By the way, for people who don't know, that aren't paying attention to some background news, Ken DeSormo correct me if I'm wrong, Dylan, got 60 days a few weeks ago, and actually people saw that as a positive step because then he can obviously at least he has a chance to ride again. Am I correct about that, Dylan? Did I read that
think.
right?
I don't really.
Okay.
Not sure, but
right, guys?
He went from being indefinitely suspended to suspended for a period of time, but boy, it's been a lot of chances.
And Matthew Chimura, Matthew, thanks for joining the show. That Garrett Gomez also wrote. Boy, Dylan, I know you're a fairly young guy. The people that wrote at Arlington the list is just unbelievable. From Pat Day to Jerry Bailey, it goes on and on. But anyway.
Wait, I was going to say, Dylan, who rode the horse when they broke their maiden? Who rode your horse?
Tyler Bays, and he's riding him again. He's been on him every time. This will be his fourth race. So come on, Tyler.
Good guy. He's a real solid journeyman rider.
Yeah.
It's weird to say German. I remember when he first came up, it's crazy how time flies. Let's see. Is this Paul?
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Vertical or horizontal better, Dylan?
Vertical. Yeah.
Any particular one you like more than another vertically?
The dollar pick six, or $2 pick six.
Oh, wait, so you're horizontal? You like horizontals then? Instead.
Oh yeah. Pick five, pick six. What did I say?
You said vertical. I thought that's okay. No worries.
Oops. Yeah.
You're a big game hunter, right? That'd be fair to say. I mean, you play the bigger exotics.
Yeah, like I really like the $2 and the $1 pick six. It sucks that California they have this 20 center. It's
nonsense.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, I would play it every single day if it was $1 or $2.
Yeah, don't get me started. Every time I look at Equibase and I look at, what kind of carryovers? Jackpot. I'm like, skip. It's like ridiculous.
Right. Although last year at Del Mar, I played a $14.40 ticket. I was just sitting at home and I was like, I'm just going to play it. And I hit it for $35,000. So
nice.
That was pretty crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how that all lined up, but
Dylan, Racing Downwind agrees with you with the dollar pick six, and then, a lot of people. Racing Downwind, thanks for joining the show. One of our great viewers as well. All right, last question, Dylan. Then we're gonna get to our handicapping. I think this is mine. I don't know really your sports allegiances, but your favorite non-horse racing sporting event ever attended.
My favorite one, I think it was Game 6. I went to the Red Sox-Dodgers World Series game out here. We're rooting for the Sox. And they were down like 3-0 going into the 8th inning or something like that. And then they came back, and just how loud it was in Dodger Stadium to how quiet it was. I was like, oh, this is just great. And I'm mostly an Angel fan. You know, I'm an Angel fan. My neighbor used to be Joe Kelly, and
Oh wow.
we went and supported him, and so we were just. I was more Joe Kelly fans more than Red Sox fans, but I was rooting for them. It was super cool.
Very cool.
Yeah,
All right, well,
that's awesome.
Dylan, that's a little bit about Dylan Donnelly. Everyone, Dylan, hope you had a little fun with that. 10 minutes of post time. And now let's have some real fun. Let's crush this pick 5 on Saturday at Del Mar. Now, as I click some buttons here, I've got 2 screens going, Dylan. As I get everything ready, tell everyone, are you a regular Del Mar player? You obviously live in California. I'm assuming Del Mar is one of the tracks you really deep dive in and watch it on a regular basis. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. SoCal, pretty much. I think I missed 2 days at Santa Anita, over the winter and summer, and I probably only played like 2 days at Los Alamitos. That's kind of, I take my break during then. But Del Mar, I've been gone the first 3 weeks. I've been overseas, so they've been starting at 10 p.m. at night. So it's kind of been crazy, and trying to lower the brightness on the laptop so that people can sleep. So I haven't been able to really dig in as much as I'd like to, but now that I'm back, yeah.
By the way, I got to ask you one quick question, because someone mentioned this on Twitter and I've heard this, but you have a better sense. The tides, do you buy or sell the fact that the ocean tides have anything to do with the Del Mar surface and or the track or the temperature of the day? How much does that really matter?
I have no idea.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard it.
I do.
I've heard it. I've heard it, and I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's hard enough to try to figure out who's going to win, let alone if the tide's coming in or out, and therefore the inside is, I don't know, blah, blah, blah.
Howard, I can tell you we had no tides to worry about in Saratoga last week.
Okay. All right.
Trust me.
That's good to know. All right, guys, let's get on to the pick 5, excuse me. Dylan and I show the Equibase just for the entries, then we go to the DRFPPs, like I mentioned to you. The first race of the pick 5, interestingly enough, is a stake race, which is sort of cool on Saturday. It starts at 4:34, that's Pacific time. So it's going to start at 7:34 approximately on the East Coast. It's the Yellow Ribbon. This is a nice grade 2 for older fillies and mares. It's $250,000. Nice purse. They're going a mile and 16th. You do see the rails are out a little bit, 12 feet. And I'll let Dylan discuss whether that matters much or not. It's a 7-horse field with a big morning line favorite, a real nice filly for Phil D'Amato and Rispoli going global. But you are going with the other D'Amato, Dylan, who's going to be a price 10-1 morning line, Burgoo Alley.
Yeah, I think it says a lot that D'Amato was putting this horse in this race with Glowing Global. I really, really, really liked this horse last time and was never comfortable in a slow pace, uncovered, pulling. Still made a really good move turning for home, but just flattened out. I really, really, really liked that October 30th race. It was not a fast pace, even though it has that C that donates closers.
Right.
It was a slow flow in there. She was against the grain. She tipped out and charged them very nicely. She ran a 90 buyer, if you're looking at those, in October as a 3-year-old. When you look at the favorite here, Glowing Global, she's pretty much a low 90s horse. She's had one really good race. Once she ran a 99 at Del Mar last year, and that was a very nice effort. But, I was looking at the rag numbers and stuff, and her big numbers that she's ran were with very, very fast paces. And when she crawled sitting off of Javanica on the April 9th race.
Yeah.
She's very consistent. She's the most likely winner. But I thought she was flat last time. I didn't see any issues. And I also thought she was kind of dead on the board at 4-5. I thought she was going to be 2-5 in there. I don't know. She's going to be 6-5. There's some runners in here, and I don't know. She could win. I like her as the second. I think it's really her and D'Amato in there.
Okay. Dylan, I got 2 quick questions. First of all, and this is important for people that don't always play California. The rails being out, now it's only out 12 feet, but in my experience with rails out at Del Mar, really anywhere, but you're getting later in the season here a little bit. Del Mar, the turf is starting to get a little bit worn out. Speed usually, in my experience, speed starts playing a little bit better on the turf at Del Mar later in the season and or when the rails are out. Would you agree with that or not necessarily?
I don't. I'm not. I don't really. I mean, I do pay attention to the rails. I even do. I kind of pay attention to if speed is holding and stuff like that. I kind of think it's very, very, very much on a, per race how the flow is set up type of deal.
Yeah.
I if you wouldn't have told me that the rails would be out at 12 feet, I would have never have known.
Okay.
So I don't really. I don't know. It's when they're at 30 or 40, something like that. That's way different.
The other question, Dylan, I have is you mentioned the pairing up the 91s. I mean, going global, we were there on November 6th for the Golden Cova because it was Breeders' Cup weekend. I thought she was absolutely. I was trying to beat her, and she was absolutely unbelievable that day. Is it maybe she just loves Del Mar, or do you think she might be regressing? That's the big question, really, in this entire race, isn't it?
I mean, I to be honest, I think she could be regressing. I thought she was kind of flat in her other Del Mar race. So the San Clemente last year, she got beat at 4-5 or something like that. So I don't know if she really likes it. She just might have been, that could have been her run. Cause I thought that was unbelievable. I was trying to beat her that day too.
Yeah, I was totally against her, and she absolutely blew by like Zofel and Princess Grace, who got caught like on the inside, I think, in a rough trip, if I remember. But anyway, you can tell Dylan's a contest player, ladies and gentlemen, because Burgoo Alley is sort of if you're a pick and pray kind of guy, Dylan, that's like the exact kind of horse you want, right? Burgoo Alley.
No, definitely, 100%. I mean,
yeah,
depending on what type of contest. Well, it all depends on what type of contest it is.
True.
And how late it is. This horse might go off at 12-1, but in a contest, if it's a live one, it might be 4-1 in a 60-person contest or 100 people. So it all depends.
Paul, I'm going to let you talk next, and then Dylan, we usually round robin pretty quickly, and if you want to jump in at any time, Dylan, feel free. You don't have to. There's no waiting turns here on the show.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paul, you've got a horse that I like on top also. I think Flippin' is getting really good. What'd you like about this horse, Paul?
Well, I like a few things, and then there's a couple of negatives. But on the positive side, and this is really a simplification, but if you look at especially in stakes races, horses going east to west on turf do very, very well.
Yeah.
And this horse is coming out of, Indiana, Monmouth, Keeneland. But the thing I like best is it really looks like this horse is begging for firm turf. If you look at the PPs, 3 wins in a row, all on firm, off the board on yielding, third by a half a length on firm, and then he wins last time in a lower level in Indiana on good. But now the bad news
right here
is
splitting, everyone. She's the gray right here splitting, beating a nice horse at Hendy Woods.
Yeah, the bad news is, Vicky Oliver has won at Del Mar. She's 1 for 14. She is 0 for 36 in graded stakes on turf the last 5 years, so that's not filling me with confidence. But I'm gonna rationalize that by saying most of them are on the East Coast, and I'll go back to theory one. I feel better after listening to Dylan too, because the more you look at going global, and Dylan, I think she might be maybe even that 4-5 she was last time, as opposed to the 6-5 morning line. Now D'Amato is, doing very, very well, but this would be the classic case of the other D'Amato. So I do like the fact that the 2 looks like a beatable favorite, and it looks a lot more beatable after listening to Dylan. So I feel good about that.
He's already had D'Amato had an other D'Amato in a sprint race. I bet it was the 5-horse one at like 8-1, and the other one was, I forgot. I don't even remember the name.
I remember the race, Dylan. Yeah,
it was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. I think there's some horses in here. I like the 7. The 5 looks 2 for 2 on turf, playable. So the 1 I think has got a good spot. But yeah, I'm gonna have the 7 definitely as an A, and I mean certainly using the 2 in the horizontal wages.
Avenue to Francis, you're going with Pete. I watched the replay. Now she got a perfect trip last time, but boy, she absolutely exploded late against less. But I mean, her buyers are increasing too. Just another real interesting horse to beat, possibly going global on Saturday.
Yeah, this was one where there was a couple of things I didn't love, but I watched that. I watched that race, and this one just seems to be in pretty good form. My biggest concern was she doesn't perform as well when she hits in the graded stakes races, so that's always a concern. But my hope was maybe that she's improving enough to where now she's worked her way into enough form to compete with a little bit better than she's run against. And then the other thing was she's just she's mostly just a drop dead closer, so she's going to need a little bit of speed up front. We know Park Avenue speed, and I think Rocking Redhead probably would have some speed. So the hope would be that it at least heats up a little bit. And even Going Global is usually relatively close and at least would hopefully push. So that's the only concern with the one. But that's any time you have a horse that's coming off the pace.
Yeah, that's sort of the pace to me. It's always tricky, Dylan. Of course, we're not in Saratoga now, Paul, so we might actually get some pace to run at. Going global, we'll probably be stalking, but Javanica is not slow early. Rocking Redhead wants to be, like sort of mid pack. Park Avenue's definitely going. Burgu Alley could probably do, a few things. But what I like about Flippant the most, I don't know if you guys watched the end of that replay. That gallop out was serious. I mean, Flippant was like just starting to get going. So she might even want more ground, but she's a fresh face. I think she's going to get this set up. Dylan, Joe Bravo's been riding real well, by the way, this summer on the turf.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he is, everyone knows how good he is, but I think people sometimes forget and they think he's just a Monmouth guy. I've seen him run one, many times out there. He's 24% Dylan this meet. I mean, the guy can still ride.
Oh yeah, no, I think him and him and Hector Barrios have been riding very, very, very good on the turf. I've just been like their horses have been catching the eye at the half mile pole around the turn. They just are not getting stopped and just making the right decisions. It's so split second, But I think Park Avenue is going to be on the lead, and to be honest, the horse kind of doesn't break super duper sharp.
Yeah.
It takes a while. I'm hoping the 6, if this horse is fresh, I don't think it's going to be that fast of a pace in here.
Okay. Just want the Burgu Alley sitting right off, I'm assuming. Is that what you
right off or go.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because if you look at some of her time 4 numbers, she's quick. She's on some quick. She's right up against there, and I don't think she's gonna have to be towards the outside, so she's gonna want to get over and clear.
Dylan, does the extra distance concern you at all?
Yes, a little bit.
It concerns me just a little bit.
Right. That's why, for me, I would hope that she would go to the front and try to keep going instead of, if you are somewhat worried about it, trying to stalk and chase and try to outfinish. So.
Just ride him. Just have Vasquez be who's, by the way, also having a pretty good meet, considering it's his first time out there. Just go ahead and step on the gas and come and catch me and take your chances, right? Pretty much.
Try to open up at the 3/8 pole and hold on.
All right. I like that idea. Let's go on to the next race. I don't know, by the way, we didn't talk overall. I thought this was a very difficult sequence in general. I don't know how you guys felt on the difficulty, but I thought it was pretty difficult. Race 7 is, again, one of these really nice, baby races that you see every year at Saratoga and Del Mar. Let me go full screen here. I also need to change. I don't know if you noticed, Dylan, there are picks on the bottom of the screen for all of us. You can see where people are going here. This is a main special for 2-year-olds, $80,000 the purse, 6.5. So now you see these 2-year-old dirt races stretching out a little more. Paul, I think we saw, a 7-furlong dirt race. Was it last weekend at Saratoga on the dirt? So you see these horses stretching out. This is a field of 10. The 9, True Hood, who was not a scratch as of yesterday when I started handicapping, is a scratch. That was the other Baffert. So the only Baffert in the race is going to be the 2, Cave Rock. Yeah, Pete, I don't think you knew that because based on your picks, but we'll get to that in a second. The more line favorite right now is I believe in this Livin', I believe is how you pronounce it. Peter Miller, Vasquez, 2-1. Dylan is our guest. You get to always go first. You're going price shopping again with the number 3, Alexander Helios. This is a second-time start for McCarthy and Espinoza.
Yeah, I mean, we get 10-1 on here, and the horse took some serious money at 8-1. You know, in a 10-horse field and a 2-year-old maiden special weight at Del Mar. Broke fine. Seemed like she had some run. It seemed like he knew what he was doing. Had some run. Victor was comfortable on the horse. Started to make a little bit of a move, and then just kind of flattened out. The top two kept going all the way around there. The horse who ran second came back and won with the 77. Had some pretty damn quick works before the race, so they probably showed some good speed. Just got a little tired. Now they're adding blinkers. Nice soft minute and two. At 5 furlongs is kind of quick for this horse. Just kind of couldn't keep up, but there's no reason this horse can't improve. Stretching out further and gets a good inside post. And I watched kind of Cave Rock's works. I wasn't enamored, and I'm not a professional. I mean,
really?
Look at all those bullets. I'm not. I mean, sure, but Arrogates don't really win first out a lot. I think it's like 5% with 2-year-old first timers. I think this horse is going to show more speed, and the other 2-1, the Peter Miller horse in here, this horse isn't that fast. This horse is going to be coming from behind, so you need to be up close in these races, and I think this 3 is going to break a lot sharper and be towards the front, and 10-1 is good.
No, it's an interesting pick. Michael McCarthy does a great job. He's good. Maybe Pete will have some stats on Michael McCarthy when we get to him. The breeding says he wants to go a little bit longer. I think he's interesting. I'm using him, Dylan. Let me just interject before I let Pete and Paul on Cave Rock. I'm going to put us all on screen here. So, Dylan, I don't know if you're an XB TV guy. You probably watch. I'm assuming you watch workouts. I watched a bunch of workouts on Cave Rock. Let me just tell everyone this. I don't know how Cave Rock's going to do Saturday, but I think this is a serious animal. First of all, Pegram, Watson, Whiteman, you got the great connections, of course. You're absolutely right about the Arrogate. That's the only thing, Dylan. The Arrogate is 2 for 38 with the first time starting 2-year-olds. That is horrible. But Cave Rock has been working and worked well with a horse called Newgate, which is an absolute monster for Pletcher. He also, by the way, worked with the 9 who's not in. He's not in there. The 9 who's not in this race. This horse breaks well, Dylan. I think this horse is going to show serious speed. He's by Arrogate, of course, out of a Bellamy Road Georgie's Angel. I'm going to look on the screen. Georgie's Angel, as everyone can see, was a pretty nice horse and was very quick. Won the Schuylerville at Saratoga, Paul, and then was in the Spinaway in a very fast pace. So despite the fact that Arrogate is not good early, Dylan, I got a feeling this might be the exception to the rule. I think this is a serious horse. That's who I have on top. Let's go ahead and talk about Pete's pick, the 7, who is another interesting horse, Ultimate Gamble. How about $1.75 million buy for Mark Latt and Red Baron's ownership? Mike Smith gets the mount here, Pete, sorry.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because originally I had the 9. I think the picks I set you were 7, 2, 8, but originally I did like the 9, and I had, even after watching that work with Cave Rock, where Cave Rock definitely broke a lot cleaner, so you would have been a little bit more confident sort of first time. It just looked like it was a little bit more ready. This one, I don't know. This one was sort of a hunch play. I mean, it's one of those where it's, the 1.75 obviously catches your attention. I don't necessarily generally love Mike Smith, but I just thought this one had, good enough stats in terms of the breeding where I didn't think that it was something where I thought, and I agree with Dylan, like I could maybe talk myself off of Cave Rock because Arrogates don't necessarily run as well in that first time out. So if I can go against the favorite, and I think I would have had that 9 probably would have been pretty low if they were in there. If I can go against the favorite and I could take a horse that obviously had talent enough to go for that much of a purchase price, the Dam, I think the Dam had maybe it was like 7 for 11 with dirt sprints, if I remember it correctly, something like that. So there was at least something in there.
Half to DeFrong, who was a serious horse.
Yep. Who was
horse.
and super fast. Yeah.
Yes.
So I just thought that there was enough. And like, if I look at the breeding and I don't see anything that jumps out that's super negative, and I look at it, although Glatt had some, he was sort of 2 for 15. I had with first time starters, at Del Mar and at this kind of level. So, but there was a lot of questionable statistics in here anyway. So this one was just one I thought, hey, if I'm going to take a shot, I'm going to take a shot with some pedigree that obviously this horse coming in looked like it was supposed to be something. And the works have been pretty good. Nothing eye popping like maybe the 2, but the works have been pretty steady. And I like that nice 6 furlong blowout on the 6th a little bit to get this one ready to go.
Okay, well, I can mention, by the way, Dylan, I'm assuming you did that on purpose, but there you go. Your camera was off. You might have done it on purpose. I don't know if you had something going on.
No.
No problem. Pete, real quick mention for you about the works on Ultimate Gamble, and for those of people who don't have XBTV. Pete, I watched a few works on. I deep dived on this race, which means I'll be completely wrong. Most likely, Ultimate Gamble to me, Pete, doesn't break great. This looks like this will be the closer of the race. Like if the 2 and 3 hook it up, or at the 6. I got a feeling based on the breeding and based on the works. He's also the horse climbed a little bit. He's like a little bit longer winded. He looks like he's got a little bit of a longer stride. Like it takes him a little more time, Pete, to get into his flow. But once he gets into his stride, I don't know if you saw any works on this horse too. But I think this is gonna be a serious horse down the road. Maybe Saturday, maybe not. Dylan, any thoughts on if you saw the works?
Because, and especially the hiring of Mike Smith, I'm just thinking this horse is going to. They want to give this horse a good educational debut, not mess up, not get this horse in trouble. This is an expensive piece of flesh. Let's give him a good debut. And yeah, he wasn't. I didn't think he was as quick. And if you're not going to be quick, sprinting at Del Mar right now, you're going to be playing catch up.
Yeah, and the only one thing that I didn't mind as much was that if this was going even a little shorter, like 6.5, I thought maybe this one could get in. But again, with these, you don't really know it's hard to tell. I mean, you can look at the breeding, but it's hard to tell what the speed's going to be. So we'll have to see if there is some speed up front that this one can potentially run into.
Dylan, we're going to move along here, and Paul, I know you're going to comment, Paul, in a second, but Dylan, any opinion in your handicapping experience about what Christine is saying with horses that have more gate works than others? I don't read too much into that. I guess if they have more gate works, then they need more practice out of the gate. But I don't know. As a handicapper, I've never really gotten involved in that too much.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably, if you think about it, the horse is working from the gate a bunch. I mean, this one's gate, non-gate, gate. Maybe has some, gate issues. You would have to look at the trainer and see if they do that with all of their horses, or if it's just a horse
that's a good point.
Case by case basis.
But and the funny thing was, in that last work, was it the last work against the 9, or was that maybe that was the work before?
I think it was the last work. Was it
it actually, he broke beautiful out of the gate.
Right.
So
it was like his best one that he did.
Yeah, right. So I mean, at least maybe it's working. I guess we'll see though when it's live.
Interestingly enough, I can see Cave Rock getting the lead, but the 6.5, I'm a little bit concerned about. I actually like Dylan's 3 and the 7 more for the 6.5. If this was like 5 or 5.5, Cave Rock would almost be a single for me. The 6.5 is a slight concern.
By the way, Howard, you mentioned the McCarthy. He does have he's 32% wins and 55 in the money with second time starting maidens in dirt sprints. So
there you go, Dylan.
He likes to get the second one going.
We're big stat guys here on the show, Dylan. We like to throw it out for whatever it might be. All right, Paul's been waiting patiently. Paul, are we all dissing the number 6? So you have second. I mean, the horse ran an 81 buyer last time against a real nice horse in Jackstown. Why can't this horse win? The other three of us are sort of poo-pooing this horse a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I a race like this, I'm looking for. Obviously, you're going to be using some first timers, but I've found a lot of times you get beat in a race like this, and you're like, oh, this horse was the best, had the best lines of horses who have already run. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a good reason, but the 6th and 7th race, it would be very helpful for pick 5 purposes if they were reversed, because then you could see the board to start out the pick 5 if this were the 6th race. Because I think a horse like this 2 horse with Baffert, the board's going to tell you a lot. And I do think that, 2 gate works on top of the race, it may not be a bad sign, but I don't think it's a great sign.
Okay.
And if this horse is 2-1, 5-2, I would say that's cold for a first-time Baffert in a race like this. So, that's my feeling on that. As my daughter Martha makes a
Hi,
cameo
Martha.
behind me. That's my feeling on that. But I don't know why this couldn't be the 6th race and the stakes race be the 7th race. But they didn't ask me, Howard.
Well,
So
people,
I'm going to use the Baffert, but I'm going like 4 deep. I'm going to use the 8 also as a B.
okay.
Practical Joke is 2-year-old first time starters 19%. Although Tim Yakteen, the trainer, is not good, but I want to have at least one price in a race like this.
And for all people,
you guys are stats people. I'll have to turn off the camera to go to it, but I did come up with a cool little stat that makes Yakteen look better first time out. If you guys want to hear it.
Good.
Yeah, let's hear it. Go ahead, Dylan.
Well, so that dam, won on debut. Granted, it was long on the grass.
Yeah.
So Yakteen with 2-year-old first timers in maiden special weights at Del Mar, this condition. Now, some of them don't get bet at all, but if they're 15-1 or lower, he's 2 for 10, and 5 of them were in the money. So 5 in the money, top 3, 2-year-old Del Mar first time maiden, that's good. And if they get bet a little bit, and the other ones he was like 0 for 8 with 15 or more.
All right.
Odds of 15 or more or higher. So
I like Bill's making me feel good. I like it.
He's got some good gate works, this horse too. I didn't watch him, but that's serious. 46-4, 47-1 from the gate. I mean, damn.
By the
Practical
way,
Joke, Howard, 2-year-old first time start is 19%.
Yeah.
I got a feeling, guys, this is a very live 2-year-old race. Like, we could see a Breeders' Cup horse out of this race. It's a gut feel, and the other Baffert's going to probably run well in the next race too. Paul, last thing before we move on, Jim brings up a good point. You could also, of course, look at the double probables to give you an idea of who's going to be live in the next race.
Yep, that's fair.
But those are not as easily to tell as as the race itself. All right, let's move on, guys. We probably spent way too long on. I love talking about the baby races. I didn't
tough race,
Dylan, but I really enjoy watching the 2-year-old races these days at Del Mar and Saratoga. Next race. Let me go ahead and switch some screens here. All right, there's our picks on the bottom of the screen, guys. We've got an optional allowance, 80,000. It's a mile on turf. It's for 3-year-olds, restricted. Difficult race, I thought. The morning line favorite is the number 4, Anmer Hall, for Pete Miller and Vasquez. I thought there was some serious replay specials in this race. You really had a deep dive, in my personal opinion, in this race. Dylan, you are going with the 6 horse here. Another price, Degree of Risk, Owen Hardy and Drayden. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, so this horse got the Justin Dew Trip of Death. He kind of.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah, so he has a thing, and I kind of have a thing, and it's basically, and we both. It's not like I've liked this angle, I guess you could call it, and
sure.
He, same thing. Just horses who are chasing out in the clear in a 2-turn turf race, not being able to get covered up is just so not the way to go in turf racing.
But he's the 8 horse. Let's take a look at it. You can talk it through as much as you want, Dylan. Go ahead.
Sure. At least I hope this is what the horse did. No. So the horse bobbles.
Right.
The horse bobbles a little bit, and there's a lone leader up on the lead, and this horse just doesn't get covered the whole time. You see, he's fresh off this. This is his first start in 7 months to go. The horse is ready to go. Still a little keen right here, and just pretty much the whole way around there gets no cover and is wasting all. This is all wasted energy right here, coming off this layoff.
Definitely pulling. I'll go and fast forward, but it's pretty much the same thing all the way around.
If you go around the turn, look, the horse is moving up on its own after the finally gets to relax and is moving good. Right here, you're like, oh shit, this is the winner right here. If you would have paused it, could have said this is the winner. Gets tired, only gets beat 2 1/4 lengths, but this was the first start in 7 months without getting cover. Was aggressive. I think if this horse can get some cover, get over, this horse is super live at a good price.
Now there's some real wacko trips coming out of this race that we're gonna watch again here in just a minute. You've got the 8 in second, Dylan. That'd be Dandy Warhol, which is my top choice. Actually, not coming out of this race, coming out of another race, but also had sort of a brutal trip.
Yep. See, now I like the 6's trip a lot more than this 9, because everyone sees that this horse was towards the back, had traffic, trouble, blah blah blah. Oh, it's going to improve. The uncovered trip is kind of hidden somewhat. Okay. That's my big thing. But yeah, this horse breaks super slow. Here's the 9
on the inside, trying to close up the inside, gets completely shut off here.
Yeah, definitely has run right here. Ears pricked, waiting for the jockey to make a thing, set him down, and
there you get shut off. But you got a poor start and came on late. I apologize.
Yeah,
By the way, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, this horse can, on debut, going 6 furlongs, broke a lot better than what he did this time. He just, sometimes when these horses come from overseas, they're not as sharp out of the gate. So this horse is Adam Lasix, and obviously they thought something of this horse. He was 11-1 in the Oceanside in the 13-horse field on opening day. So,
first time Lasix. I'm personally expecting big improvement in this race from this horse. Dylan, anything else you want to mention before I go to my in this race?
No.
You got the 3 for third, optimizing, who's nicely bred. Another horse for McCarthy coming off a layoff. I mean, we're looking for a horse that can make major improvements, right? In this race.
Right. Now, I mean, he ran, he actually ran against a degree of risk in November at Del Mar.
Yeah.
November 5th. And he also looked very, very strong around there, but was uncovered for the most part, and, didn't have a chance to get shut off. So, shut off and relax. And it just shows something that this horse is coming back in this spot. It's probably ready to go.
Okay. Let's go to you, Paul, here. You've got the 4. Now, the 4 was Amner Hall. I'm not going to show the replay. Amner Hall was the 2 in the replay that I showed second, who ran real well, gets blinks off, ran an 86. Very logical. My only negative, or my only question for you, Paul, is he was 30-1 last time. Now he's going to be, 3-1? That, in general, for me, is a negative. But you have to have winners to hit a pick 5. So, I guess you don't worry about the odds, right?
Yeah, I agree, Howard. I hate that particular angle myself. I just think, you either think the Oceanside is going to end up being a live race or not, because you have, I believe there's 3 coming out of it. I think there were some bad trips in the race, the 8 being one of them. This 4 did look like a winner at some point, and then our friend Billy Koch, who I saw several times at Saratoga, Howard.
Yeah.
Friend Billy Koch's Bolifnikov got up late, and so I do hate that angle that he's 30-1 last time. Although it's even worse when they win that race. But I think he ran pretty well out of that race. I'm going to go on the theory that that's going to end up being a pretty good race. So I took 2 horses out of that race, and the 4 and 8 are both A's for me.
Now, we didn't talk about Handy Dandy, who, let's see, Pete's got second. You've got second. What is it you liked about this one?
Well, that's where I would be playing him. If you look at his, he's 7 out of 9 on the board. Doesn't win. It's only won twice, but he is pretty consistent. You did show the replay of him. I agree with Dylan.
Yeah.
I like the other horse's trip better, but this is more of a board horse for me if I were playing the race vertically, and he will be a defensive B in the pick 5 for me.
He's right here. I thought he got a dream trip as opposed to some others that did not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he can't win, but boy, Dylan, I mean, you're not going to get a better trip than this and still couldn't win. So
that
was my negative on that horse.
He saved ground the whole way, traveling very smooth. And I mean, you're going to tell me he's going to get a better trip than that from the 9-hole this time?
Yeah, I agree with you. Pete, I sort of gave you short shrift because you like Dandy Warhol also.
No, that's okay.
I'm assuming you thought the same way. You liked the replay. He got off really slow. Should break better. First time Lasix. Blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah, basically the same stuff. Nothing new to add there. It was
Okay.
definitely the trip helped, and I was hoping for a little bit. Like Dylan said, though, that was sort of an obvious trouble trip, so the
Yep.
price reflects that. I was hoping for maybe a little bit up. I was actually surprised a little bit at Handy Dandy being 7-2. Not that I think that horse is great or anything, but I just thought maybe that one would take a little bit more money just
Yeah.
from the consistency standpoint. But
I just want to mention the 7 guys because I'm the only one on the screen though that has the source. Again, I this is the same replay again, but I could have mentioned it before, but I didn't want to interrupt Dylan's storm there. The 7 is the 6 here who just gets sent out like way the hell out. Oh, we just missed it. It's going to come up in the back here. Now see these 2 horses right here, and Dylan, I don't know what's going on here, but if you watch when the jock pulls the stick, it looked like what is that? Did the stick get like caught? Did everyone see that? Watch
yeah,
this
it almost
again.
looked like it got caught on the
Like right here.
on the
Watch
saddle
this.
or something.
Like yeah, what was that? Like got caught in the jock in the horse's tail or some kind of weird shit going on. Watch this one more time, guys. This horse right here. Jock pulls the stick. He already got sent out. Like right. Look, what in the world is that? Like
That must have been Jamie Spencer. Was that Jamie Spencer?
no, it's not Jamie Spencer.
Oh.
And the horse still ran on a little bit. I know he's off the screen, but he got really bothered, and like they just gave up on him. Dylan, that's another one of those trips that I think looks bad on paper, and you watch the replay, and Dylan, some people will say, well, the horse didn't run on. Well, yeah, hell, he didn't run on because he got sent out to the parking lot, and then he got like the whip, like the jock just stopped riding. Like these are the kind of trips you got to watch for better or for worse, right?
Yeah, that's see, but to me, he was grinding along around the far turn when that happened.
Okay.
But that was his first start, so I mean, he was still, he could improve. There's no saying he can't improve. Sadler knows what the hell he's doing.
And by the way, Barrios, who I hate at Gulfstream, like I never bet him, somehow is 5 for 18 at Del Mar. I mean, it's just
he's been riding really well.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on to the next race. I'm sorry, we're taking a little bit long here, but we like to talk horse racing, Dylan. I hope you're okay.
So, hey, I got nothing. Oh yeah, I'm doing nothing.
We got nothing either. We're just horse guys. All right, let's get on to the 9th race here. Let me go full screen. Let me switch the picks here. All right, small field, interesting race. What I didn't switch it, did I? There we go. Hold on. It's taking a second to switch here. We'll get there. There we go. It's the Sorrento. It's a grade 2. This is for 2-year-old fillies, restricted. 200,000 is the purse. They're on 6 furlongs. You got a field of 6 with this Infinite Diamond. The 7 is Scratch, who I actually was very interested in. I'm a little disappointed that B and Cohen, I'm assuming, just didn't ship the horse out, would be my guess. But Infinite Diamond is an interesting horse in general. The morning line favorite here is the number 1, Procrastination, who is very fitting considering I'm a school teacher and I'm about to see plenty of procrastination from my students starting next week, most likely. Sorry if they hear this. 8-5 morning line. McCarthy. You're a big McCarthy guy, Dylan. It sounds like.
It looks like
or maybe it's just Saturday. I don't know. But no, this is a real nice horse, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the horse broke super sharp from McCarthy, and you'd think that some of those horses, not as good going first time out, but this thing was bet like a good thing. They were probably targeting this race with good timing. I don't know. I hate playing guessing games, but let's get them a race so that this, instead of waiting for the bigger purse, like a maiden special weight at the beginning of the meet, because then it would have been kind of coming back pretty quick for this race. So let's put this race into her, and she won super nice, and it just sets it up perfectly 5 weeks later, ready to roll in this $200,000 race. So I don't think there's a ton of early pace in this race. Nice gate work right before. Ricky can get him out of the gate. I think this horse is the one to beat.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to, not much to see here. I mean, she just blows by the field. I think you bring up a real interesting point with Los Al, Dylan, because a lot of people, especially if they don't play the West Coast, they see, well, the horse started at Los Al, it's a lower, circuit, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Baffert has done this with some very nice runners too, right, Dylan?
Sure.
They start them off at Los Al, get that experience, and then, they have that edge with experience over horses that are first time starters or less experienced going into Del Mar. So I think you bring up an excellent point. 47-2 gate freeze handily, by the way, fifth best of 116. This is a very fast horse, and I got a feeling this could be a Breeders' Cup horse, Dylan, if she can stretch out by not this times and out of a Super Saver dam. So I got a feeling, Dylan, procrastination. Do you think? I mean, it's hard to say, but this could be a Breeders' Cup horse, right? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
And yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't think this is that tough of a field.
Yep.
So if this horse wins nicely and gets a good number, sure. But let's see what she does in their next race.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it like she's going to win this one, but I mean, I don't think this is that tough of a field.
By the way, Eclipse partnership, Dylan. I also like the fact that she broke from the inside last time and did it well. So I don't know if you figure that into your handicapping, but I don't think the rails can be a problem for this horse.
No, not at all. And down on the rail at Los Al is not the most ideal spot either.
No, not at all. It's horrible.
So,
usually. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see who else is. I mean, the three horse broke super sharp last time and is working well. But the horse on the outside is the other one who's gonna take money, and I think this one's just gonna be chasing wide, we'll see.
Yeah, we're not going to talk too much about this race, Pete and Paul, because there's really not. We all have the one. Let's see here. Pete, you can just quickly talk about the 5 and 6. I have them second, third. So does Paul. We all basically have the same horses here, Pete.
Yeah, the only thing I liked about the 5, which was when you watch the replay, it was weird for a 30-1 shot, is that it was just ridden so confidently. She was, the confident ride, right? Did you see that? It just does. It's not what you expect with a 30-1 shot. You're like, this horse looks like, if you watched it without the odds, you think that horse was like 4-5.
Right.
And that's what sort of threw me, right? You saw the same thing, Dylan?
Yep. No, yeah, looked good the whole way around. Pretty much never looked like a loser.
Yeah.
Just was very was confident and let the horse gather its feet. Out of the break wasn't that strong, but just let himself gather and never was. I mean, this is running down a Baffert horse and just kind of not even hitting him right here, just keeping her straight.
Yeah, she was lugging in too. I think this is the one. If the speed develops, this is the one you want, right?
Right. No, I think so.
Yeah, it's just not something you normally see for a shot that long. So I figured, again, now if you get that sort of, if you just throw the odds out, and that usually would be something, maybe a 30-1 shot, maybe the race fell apart, blah blah blah, maybe something funky happened, and that's why that horse won. It just didn't look like that. And like Dylan said, beating a low price Baffert horse is always a good thing when you're talking about the 2-year-olds.
Yeah, and who knows? This horse might show more speed. I mean, the horse didn't get out of the gate quick last time.
No, agree. I don't think they meant to be that far back, and that wasn't probably ideal. But
this horse might be a lot better. And 67 buyer, that's very respectable for on debut. So,
Paul, quick thoughts on absolutely zero. This was my second choice. The only reason I have her second and maybe is an upset possibility, I'm going to go ahead and bring us all on screen. My thought here, Paul, I don't know if you agree, is this. I think this horse is going to sit right outside the 1. If something happens, if the 1 doesn't quite break or just something strange happens, the 6 to me is the one that's going to get first run on anyone else. And my gut feeling, Paul, I have no intel. This horse is, by Nyquist. I have a feeling that the extra distance might be a little bit better for this one, although I will admit it's a bit of a guess.
Yeah, well, I think with the 5 and 6 both being O'Neill horses, I think the 6 is going to be very much going to be sent to at a minimum sit off the 1, if not, and that's one of the reasons why I have to keep the 5 involved, because I do think there is a chance that even in a short field, I think there's a chance this race could be won from behind. And I think, again, with the 1 being the speed from in there, we know is going to go. I think that Mario Gutierrez sends this horse from the outside, and if not in the lead, sits off the 1, tries to get first run, but if not, then he's got Satin Doll coming to pick up the pieces. And I would like to say, Howard, I saw the 1998 Sorrento in person with Hall of Famer Silver Bullet Day winning the race.
Wow,
Nice.
in those patented orange and what yellow silks for
All that means is I'm very old.
that was for Pegram and Whiteman and Watson and whatever.
Correct.
Silver Bullet Dave, real nice horse
Very
from
good
back
horse.
in the day. All right, guys, let's go to the last race. Now, this race, Dylan, holy crap! This last race, I'm not an all button guy, Dylan. I'm assuming you're probably not either. But if I had the money or resources or desire or whatever, I mean, this last race is really difficult in my opinion. Let's go to the last race here, race 10, guys. And again, we appreciate everyone watching tonight. We're going to show our pick 5 tickets here in just a minute. It's a maiden special. It's a mile 16th on turf. This is for the males, three-year-old and up. Big field here of what 11, and the morning line favorite is the number 5. Pray for me, Ray, for Mike Pipey and Mike Smith. And you are going with now, Dylan. I got to say this. I have a lot of respect for you, as I'm assuming you know. When I handicapped this race before the morning lines came out. Did you see the morning lines before, Dylan, or no?
No, I don't even know what. They're on the right. No, I didn't even look at them yet.
All right, I
20?
didn't look at him. I hadn't looked at him either, and I looked at him today, and I have the 9 on top also, Dylan. You and I both have the 9 on top. This 9, Dylan, is 20-1. And when I saw the morning line, I thought 2 things. First of all, that's a ridiculous morning line, number 1. And then number 2, I was like, I'm hoping Dylan likes this horse like I do, because I'll feel so much better, Dylan. We're either gonna go down in complete flames and look like idiots, or look like geniuses, because I don't usually bet 21 morning lines or pick 21 morning lines on top. So, Dylan, I'm going to let you talk about the number 9, who you and I both have on top at 20-1 for Peter Urton and Joe Bravo.
I mean, this horse. I mean, Urton's sharp. He's very cagey. His horses. He knows what the hell he's doing. This X-Line border racing. These guys buy runners. Didn't take any money on debut, but I think they were quite surprised. You could show the race.
Well, there's a few coming out here, right? So the 5,
right.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dylan. The 5, Pray for Me, Ray is the 3 in this race. He's the 5. The 5 in this race is in this race, but won't be a factor. You want to watch the 1 and the 3, but 7 Wonders is the 1. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, just from the get go, I'm pretty sure. Let's see what happens here. What I remember. Off awkwardly. But gathers her feet fine and is saving ground, but just never was comfortable down on the rail, and still ran throughout down the lane, was only beat 2 lengths. I know this Pray for Me, Ray, they've really liked this horse from the beginning. This horse has got some serious talent, just so far back, and that's tough in turf racing. But this one
also
is
in between, Dylan. Like, this is a claustrophobic spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, never comfortable right here. Gets shuffled all the way back to last. This horse probably has more speed. Just watch this horse. Is waiting, trouble.
Traffic, cats get to the outside. Here comes the outside.
Yeah, he is advancing on his own. That's natural talent being asked right there. The jockey was just trying to guide him outside.
Yeah. Here are the 2
he runs
horses.
on just fine.
Here's the 3, and then there's the 1 right there.
Yeah, so this horse gallops out fine as well. 20-1. I don't really like the 9 hole, but this horse should break better today. And look at this horse. This horse is galloping out. There's talent here for sure, and hopefully we can get 20.
That'd be fine by me. I just think this is a wide open race, and
right.
I like one of my sort of angles, Dylan, is I like horses that are had a lot of not only traffic but like claustrophobic, like in between horses for me. Unless they're an experienced horse, that's like a very underrated bad angle for me. Horses, not angle, but bad race where you got inexperienced horses in between and claustrophobic to me is a very bad situation. I don't think enough people talk about, in my personal opinion. You've got the 5 second, who was the 3 in that race, who ran very well.
Right.
Pray for Me, Ray. And then you've got the 4 Spy Catcher, who's very logical for Rispoli.
Yeah, like I said, the 5, this barn's always liked this horse from before the debut. They thought long on the turf at Del Mar, wait for this horse. So this is what it's doing. The 4 is actually dropping in class and ran very respectable last time. So I don't know what their plan was last time. Maybe this race didn't get. I don't know what was going on. I don't
let's
know
move them up. Let's move them all the way up and stretch them all the way out and just see what happens, kind of thing.
Yeah. So has a little better jockey on him this time. I don't really care who's riding my horse that much, but this horse should be able to save ground and running good numbers. So 4, 5, and bomb for me.
Dylan, before I get on to the other few and talk about our pick 5, approximately in like a caveman or maybe even on Saturday, how many do you think you'd use in this race out of 11, if assuming you want to play your biggest ticket? Ballpark figure.
I will have, so I'll do A, B's, and C's, and I'll have 5. I'll have 5 horses in here.
Okay.
I'll have the 4, 5, 6, 9, and 11.
Okay, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11 for Dylan.
Yeah.
Pete, you've got another interesting horse that I've got, a Calumet horse, a Rio King, 8-1 Moorline, Jack Sicherson. I have him second. You've got him on top.
Yeah, this was another one where in a wide open race, again, I did this I first handicapped morning lines, but this was another one that had a weird trip. I mean, if I remember, terrible start, was pinched, but then, and then if you watch it, sort of starts bad. I guess we'll wait till because that 7 sort of came in and then it kicked the 8 way out. So this horse was way back, then winds up when you get in the lane, gets pinched again. So just never really had a clear run and still, ran on. So it didn't give up. So if you watch through the end, it sort of ran on and came and only lost by 2 3/4. And that was coming off of the first race at 22 with a nice 75 buyer. So sort of paired that up, even with a troubled trip, paired up that half decent buyer. So I feel like if you watch.
The 2 was leaning on him and I mean, people would think, well, he didn't run on. Well, the 2 was leaning on him, and he sort of lost interest. At least that was my opinion.
Yeah, and then he kicks in sort of late there too. I mean, again, sometimes you're just looking, and these are relatively green horses, so that you look at him and just say, hey, it didn't give up. He ran on. He did what he could have just backed up to last with that trip that he got, and he kept going. So, to me, if a price, and again, in a wide open race where I don't think the favorites are anything special to speak of, I wouldn't mind having a couple prices on the ticket. And this one, if it gets a cleaner trip, maybe gets a little closer, and then also moves forward from those back-to-back 75 buyers, then I kind of like that.
I think he fits, and I'm going to move on here, but you got Devil Moon, who I think is interesting. A lot of speed for Mandela. Maybe he can wire the field with Juan Hernandez. I don't like the 4-1 morning line from the 11 hole. That being said, the 11 can win. Real quick, Percolate, Paul. Percolate. Another price shot for McCarthy. If I read it correct, this is who you like, right, Paul, on top?
Yeah, the only opinion I have in this race, Howard, other than I agree with all of you guys that it's wide open, is, and this is harder to tell, obviously, in a maiden race, but I think this race is begging for someone to go gate the wire. I mean, if the numbers on the page are even remotely close, it looks very slow. Especially for a California race. And, this horse, Percolate, was in a maiden special his first time with Mike McCarthy. Looks like it was on closing weekend last year. Went off at 2-1 and ran second.
Yeah.
With a 59 buyer, which is, he's going to have to jump up from that. But, and the other horse I used was the 1, the total X Factor Euro, who I got a feeling is going to be sent. So I don't know. I'm all over the board. I like Dylan. I'm going to be 5 or 6 deep, but I am playing this race for the horses to be on or near the lead, one of them to win the race.
Honestly, Paul, that was the only reason why I included the 11, because I thought, even though it's from the 11 hole, I thought that one might have to go, and then you never know. I'd rather just have the speed. And again, I didn't think that one would be maybe 4-1, but I was hoping for a little bit more of a price to just be on the lead, and if it dies, it dies. But at least I'll have some closers behind it.
Guys, I've got 9 of the 11. You guys know me very well. Obviously, Pete and Paul know me very well from a as a handicapper. I don't like to huge spread, Dylan, unless I have like no opinion. I've got 9 of the 11 in this race in my ABC. Like this is a complete cluster F. That's why.
So wait, so give out the other two,
Yeah,
because those are the
don't you
those
have?
are the other, those are the
Let's
winners.
see. All right, who don't I have?
Probably
I
two.
want to say it in front of
The
whoever
2
these
and the
horses
8.
are. Everyone, bet your entire house on these 2 horses. You ready? I do not have the 3. I do not have National Genero for Papa Padromo, who, by the way, is really good right
Wins
now.
everything.
He wins
I think I mentioned that, Howard, a few weeks ago.
And I do not have Pole 7 Percolate. I
Good.
don't know.
I feel even better, Pete.
Yeah, that's a lock now.
Okay.
Well, wait, you have
All
the
right.
3 in your picks on the bottom of the screen.
I do.
That's what you put in. So
Yeah.
either your senility is kicking in, or your
that should be 4 actually.
okay. There you go.
Okay, I got to switch it now officially, even though I know.
So you're confusing everybody. Come on, man! Don't
know why that.
we got a nice new guest. Don't embarrass yourself in front of our nice
listen,
new guest.
I'm good at doing that. There we go. No, I like the 4. Dylan, sure she seems to me here as we show here's what's going to do. We're going to show your pick 5 and we'll let you off the show, and then the other 3 of us knuckleheads will show our pick 5s. Your price shopping, is this something you normally do, or is this? I mean, you don't even you said you don't even look at the odds morning line, so you just happen to land on horses that are sneaky long, I guess. Is that fair to say? I mean, I don't know what to glean from your picks.
Yeah, I mean,
less obvious, I guess, right?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the odds are. I mean, I'll play it.
Sure.
Whatever the odds are. I mean, I don't really play Cavemans.
Right.
But like this is I guess what I would do.
Sure. I'm going to read it off, Dylan. We don't do Cavemans either. The only reason I do it, Dylan, is because not everyone knows the ABC method. It's just some more simplistic way to give out our picks. We're all ABC guys. Dylan's pick 5, for those of you who are going to be listening to this later on at home, is 2-6 with 2-3-6 with 2-3-4-6-8 with 1 with 5-9-11. By the way, just so everyone knows, we changed the format. I asked them for about a $50 ticket. We used to do 100, Dylan, but we just changed it to 50 with the thought, Pete and Paul, this is sort of all of our A selections. That was my rationale. Of course, we all play B's and C's, and Dylan's going to use many more. But your general strategy here is to single procrastinate in leg 4, Dylan, and then I'm assuming spread other places in general. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, because I just couldn't. It was either single Burgoo Alley or single procrastinate, and I felt like the value, if you're going to play this, you can't go too deep with like the 8-5 and 6-5 in the Sorrento. It's just You're losing so much value there. So, and I like procrastination a lot more than the 6 horse in there or the 5. So, I thought that was the most logical, let's see, how do I phrase it? Most probable winner in the sequence. And so.
Yeah, listen, Dylan, I love your pick. I really enjoy you being on the show tonight, man. You gave us some great insight with detail, and we'd love to have you back again, whether it's a big day on the West Coast or another time. I hope you enjoyed being on the show tonight. Any closing thoughts for Saturday, or people that want to get involved with the contests that aren't used to playing contests, or just any general advice for the handicapping public out there?
If you want to play in like small feeders, like on ExpressBet, to get into, they have like $40 ones to get you into $300 ones. They got $20 ones to get into other ones. Horse Tourneys has $12 ones, $24 ones, whatever. Or if you want to play $1,600 heads-up matches, you're more than welcome to do that too. I'll be in there, but so.
So if you play heads up, avoid Dylan Donnelly if you see him.
No, I'm a fish.
We all know that's not true.
So
well, I think that's. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and then just Horse Tourneys has got some good things for a mythical $2 win place, and then that really helps you find value. And then because I started with those and then worked my way into live money tournaments. So. Other than that, just hopefully my horse can get covered up, save some ground, and explode late on Sunday in the last race. He's training really well, and it'll probably be like 8-1 or so. So
That's can't beat the Rock.
Yes,
For Dylan Donnelly,
yes.
guys. Cheer him on Sunday. Dylan, you going to be at the Breeders' Cup this year?
I will.
All right, I hope to see you
there.
there. I will be in Keeneland. Well, let me buy you a drink, man, for sure. And
of course, thank you very much.
We'll see you. We'll see you there in November at Keeneland. Have a great night, Dylan. Really, thanks a lot
Thanks,
for joining
Dylan.
the HHH race.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Good
Have
luck
a good
on
time.
Sunday. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Dylan. Take care. Good luck Sunday. Bye-bye. All right, great guy. And you can tell he does his research, guys. He knows a lot of trainers out there. He just, we've had a lot of fantastic handicappers on, guys, but you can sort of tell when someone does their homework and knows the business and just understands the game, because the way they talk and the way they watch replays. Pete, I was really impressed. Not that I wasn't impressed before.
No, it was awesome. I mean, and he's got a nice fresh perspective, and he's got you like a logical way of handicapping, and you're a replay guy, and it seems like he's sort of a trip finder or a bad trip finder, but not the obvious ones, the undercover ones, and that's how you do get the value, is when you spot something that other people aren't going to generally see.
I got to be honest, guys. I did not have Burgoo Alley in a lot of places, and I wasn't sure about the 3. I moved some horses up. I'm not, we've all been doing this a long time. If you're going to be stubborn and not listen to other people you respect and not change your opinion, maybe even slightly, and stick to your guns all the time, I think you're being stubborn and you're not listening. That's just my personal opinion.
No, I definitely add to my tickets once we're on here, and because half the time it's just, maybe you just missed something. You can't see everything. I mean, everybody's going to miss a little something. So if someone points something out, then it's great to, you catch that. And if it sounds logical and it fits what your opinion is of the race, then by all means, don't be stubborn, because nobody knows everything, and it's all a crapshoot in the end. So just don't be afraid to add something, even if it wasn't in your initial.
Pete, we spent 90 minutes of the show, and I enjoy doing. We spent like an hour handicapping, and we all know it's still going to be luck and this. And that.
It's all
It's Paul's ticket. He's got 2-7 with 2-6-7-8 with 4-8 with 5-6 with 1-4-7, $48. Paul, just general thoughts on your construction here.
Yes, so Flippin is my top horse in the first leg. We talked about that, but I'm not going to get beat by Going Global. I want to be deep in that second leg. That should be the first leg. I'm going with the 2 horses coming out of the Oceanside on my theory that's going to be a key race. And then on a Caveman in the 9th, Dylan just mentioned it. You can't use all 3. Some might argue you shouldn't use 2, but I said on a Caveman ticket, I would live and die with the 2 O'Neills, figuring one of them was going to win. So I'm going to need to beat probably the favored one there. And then in the last race, I have, the Bombs Away with the only can use 3 when I want to use 9 like Uncle Howard.
Well, speaking of Bombs Away, Dylan and I somehow both landed on a 20-1 shot. But I think that's the first time in this show's history that myself and another guest landed on like a complete boing line bomb. So that means we're either going to be really, like I said, smart or really
mine's
stupid.
Only 15-1. I feel like I have chalk.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll be curious to see which one of those 2 is going to be lower. I have a feeling it'll be the 9, but maybe not. And by the way, I like your pick on with the Euro at the end. You had a Euro at the end in a turf maiden race a few weeks ago at Del Mar, right? That went off 10-1 or somewhere in there. Paul, right? Okay.
I think I gave that one. I believe I gave that one out that night, Howard, didn't I?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gave it out on top. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yep. Pete's ticket 1-2-7 with 2-7 with 8-9 with 1-5 with 5-6 10-11 $48, Pete.
Yeah, and Paul, he should be proud of us that we both came in under the 50. So, I know he was concerned about that. But mine. The only thing I did that I wavered on was, do I single the 1 like everyone else sort of did in that 4th leg, or when I was looking at it, for some reason I just couldn't get off that 5. I was just so impressed with that 5 and the way that race went, and the way and my thought was, on the A ticket, if this one hits and you can beat what's going to probably be a relatively low choice and maybe the only logical single in the sequence, if you can beat that one, then you're going places in terms of the payout. So that's why I sort of went short there. I went a little deep. Yeah, the deep leg was the 5th leg, because it's who the hell knows? I think I don't know when I went through it the first time. That was one of those like you had where I probably had like 8 horses marked, and then just sort of chopped away to see who were on the A line.
Pete, we have 7 horses between us, and we don't have the same horse.
Isn't that unbelievable? And it's definitely
right?
so. It's definitely the other 3, Paul. That's another given, obviously.
I'll tell you,
that's actually
tough.
Wait, do I see the 9? Do I see the? No, I don't see the 9 there. Okay.
No.
Anyway, all right. Here's my ticket, guys. As we wrap up the show, I'm going 1, 2, 7 with 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, with 1, 6, with 4, 9, 10 is $45. I understand the procrastination. Sorry. The single on the 1. I might change my mind, to be very honest. I do right now have the 1 as the lone A in leg 4, but I sort of like the other speed. I don't know why. The faster O'Neill probably won't win. I might just end up using the 1 a lot heavier in that 4th leg. But I think a lot of people are going to single there. And like I talked about on the show on Tuesday with the young boys in Saratoga, I singled the 7 on the end on Saratoga yesterday, who, although I didn't hit the pick 5, I made a very nice win bet and big tries in that race, the last race at Saratoga, the running B, who ran off the screen and was a very strong opinion for me. So I'm going a bit contrarian. I'm going to single the 2, the Baffert horse in the second race. I understand that it's a first-time starter. He might not win, blah, blah, blah. The fact that Baffert guy scratched his other one, that tells me something. Now, that horse has to get to 6.5. He's got a break. I have a feeling that's a real nice horse. So I'm going to go a bit contrarian. Obviously, I'm using others in that leg on the ABC, but I'll single the 2 in leg 2 and cross my fingers in that race and the last race. But again, I thought in general, guys, this was a very tough sequence. We're going to wrap up the show. Pete and Paul, any thoughts? By the way, let me just say this. I want to get this out of the public. I got a few questions, people asking, what about the races that are happening at Churchill this weekend? I don't know how to say this nicely. I cannot. I'm boycotting for 1 year. I cannot do it. I'm not going to mention the races that are happening. I'd be happy to cover Churchill. I always do. Anyone that watches the show, I've had people on from Churchill. I've got no problem with the employees of Churchill Downs, whatever. Paul, I can't cover the AM race this Saturday. I just can't do it.
Well, and not only that, Howard, forgetting about how despicable it is that they closed Arlington Park, how about gambling real money on races being run on that grass, which they had to shut down? It's been shut down for now, 2 months, 2.5 months. Hey, look, they're good races. You look at them on paper, they're good races. You're going to have good jockeys. You got several of the jockeys from New York are going down. So, it is tempting, but I just don't know how many times have we talked about how horses who had been running on that turf, how hard it was to decipher the form when they went to other tracks. Well, now it's going to work in reverse, right? So I don't know how you could bet a lot of money with any, I'm sure I'll play a few of them because, that's the way I am. But I'm with you. The fact that the M and the BD being run at CD is a DG disgrace. So
well, also there's 2 races, the Pucker Up and the Secretariat, they canceled because they don't want to run too many races on this turf course. I think the Beverly D. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did look at it. Listen, I'm a horse player. I think I saw 5 horses. I mean, something ridiculous. Not that there aren't small fields other places, but Pete, sorry, buddy, if you want me to talk about that.
I didn't particularly like either field either. I have no, I'm not the same way you are, but I did love Arlington Million Day, and it didn't have the same feel. When you looked at those races, those were usually jam-packed with top-notch horses, and I looked at the field and just didn't really love it. So it was sort of I like that. Nice.
From Matthew Schimmer. I mean, listen, it's a good race card, but how is on the biggest day that Arlington had in their history, you got 2 turf races the entire day? I mean, that's just the minor part, but the bigger part is, of course, the backstory behind it. So I'll cover that day next year, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't do it. If you want to bet Churchill Saturday, be my guest. I'm not going to tell you not to, but I can't cover on the show. this week. Anyway, on that positive note, Pete and Paul, great job for my wonderful co-host, Pete Visco and Paul Halloran. This has been Howard Kravitz. It's been episode 168 of the HHH Racing Podcast. It's a real nice pick 5 at Del Mar. I'm glad we covered it, guys. There's a lot of possible prices that you can get out there from the three of us and Dylan. So good luck to everyone. The next show is going to be a week from this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, covering Saratoga. The guest is going to be TBA, guys. I'm not sure who it's going to be. And then the following week, Paul, at Saratoga, Travers Week, buddy, and that card is going to be crazy. And this podcast will be making its debut live at an OTB in Chicago. We're going to have a live 3-hour show at an OTB on Travers Day in 2 weeks. It's going to be really exciting. Guys, have a great night. Good luck to everyone who bets Del Mar this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.